Today is Tuesday, October 14th, 2025, and it is 9:49 a.m., which is a very odd time for me to be recording. I know usually I record either like at midnight, late at night, or I will do it after the market closes. But I just decided to give this quick update video just in case I'm not able to later on, just because I'm busy with work and right now I just have a little bit of free time. So I decided to just go ahead and squeeze in this little update video for you guys. I actually did make a small move. It was just me closing out a Robinhood covered call. So I did do that yesterday. If I would have waited until today, I could have closed it out for maybe $20. So I would have made an extra $20, but it is what it is. I just wanted to go ahead and get rid of it while the market was somewhat red, or at least Robinhood was somewhat red. So I did go ahead and do that. And of course, my realized profit on this covered call trade is $221. And if we take a look at my remaining covered call positions, we do have some that are still in the red. But we do have a 150 strike that I am up over $660 in. We have a 175 strike that I'm up over $270 in. And then we have a 160 strike that I'm up 160 or 155 now, but basically $150. So I am a little bit more confident in my trades and my covered call positions, not just because I'm making some money on some of my covered calls, but also because of the recent price action. We did have like this fake out pump where, Trump said, I guess everything is okay with China or something like that. And it excited the markets briefly. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I do believe Robinhood gave up all of its gains after that initial pump, right? So we did have that initial rally where the markets were excited because Trump was saying nice things about China. And then, of course, it ended up just being a lower high, right? And then another lower high after that. And now we broke into new lows, at least for this week. So once again, I do believe that we'll see a little bit more downside. If we take a look at the actual prices, Robinhood right now is sitting at 136. I do still think that it's very possible we see $100 on Robinhood. So if any of you guys are fellow shareholders in Robinhood, just prepare for that. Just keep that in mind. I think it's possible we'll see 100. Obviously, I'm not a financial guru or some financial advisor. I can't predict the markets. Sorry about the person cutting grass outside, if you guys can hear that. But I guess Grinder's down bad. So that's unfortunate. Grinder has been grinding me. But we do have Pepsi at $150 finally. They've been somewhat holding it together in my account while the rest of the market seems to be taking a dump. The NASDAQ right now is down almost 1%. And I know some of you guys wanted to see my all-time charts after like this recent drop or whatever, but that is what I'm sitting at right now. That's my year over year. And then, of course, that is my year to date, my 3 months, and then, of course, my 1 month and my 1 week. So any guys that were interested in that, there you guys go. And I actually have been getting a lot of comments from you guys recently. So I'm going to try to quickly go through this, as fast as I can. But also just wanted to thank you guys for 1,000 subscribers. Finally, I think I hit 1,000 Sunday night. I am a little bit late on the thanks, but I did hit 1,000 subscribers on Sunday. And right now I'm sitting at 1,027. So I did want to thank you guys. And I have been getting a lot more likes, a lot more comments on my videos. So I appreciate that. But on the last video, I do believe I left off on Sean Reed. So we're going to go with Rainbow, who says, what do you think about Target stock, ticker symbol TGT? Should I keep holding and wait for it to recover to 90? My purchase price is around 89. So, I can't tell you what to do. I don't know your situation. I don't know your portfolio, and I don't know you, right? And at the end of the day, eventually you'll kind of get used to this and you'll understand what I'm saying. But when it comes to the stock market, especially, and life in general, you'll learn that you'll kind of just have to find your own path. So I can't really tell you should you hold or not. But my general thoughts on Target is it's an above average retailer, maybe average. In recent years they've been kind of slacking a little bit. I'm not gonna lie, but I do think they're an above average retailer. I think their app is very high quality, and personally, I enjoy buying things on the Target app more than I do Amazon. So that is, something to note. Amazon is the most popular e-commerce app or whatever, but personally, I think the Target app is better. So, but when it comes to Target as an investment, I think their numbers were okay the last time I saw them, financial numbers, and obviously technically they've been oversold for a long time now. And when you look at their peers like Walmart, it seems like Walmart only goes up. So maybe Target can play catch up in the future. And I don't think Target is the worst stock in the market. But me personally, there are just so many other stocks for me to buy. I might consider, looking into Target and purchasing it in one of my accounts, maybe. But as of right now, like I said, there's just way too many stocks. And especially if the market takes a dip going into end of year or 2026, I want to have some capital freed up for some other stocks that I really want to get into. So basically, my general thoughts on Target are, it is on my watch list, right? It's on my mind, but it's somewhere like in the middle or towards the tail end, right? It's not number one priority for me. But we have Hover Labs that says, what's the difference between Robinhood and an app like Fidelity? Well, first of all, they're two completely different companies. Number two, I think they're different experiences. Sometimes you'll have stuff on Fidelity that you can do that you can't do on Robinhood, and vice versa. For example, I think Robinhood's user interface is a lot more enjoyable, right? I think the app itself is it's the best brokerage experience in my personal opinion. But sometimes I'll use other brokerages just to have access to different assets. For example, Ferrari stock, ticker RACE, right? As of right now, I don't think you're able to buy it on Robinhood, but you are able to buy it on other brokerages. So, there are some positives and some negatives, which is why I kind of diversify my brokerages and my accounts. But if you kind of test around different brokerage apps, you'll kind of you'll start to notice differences in all of them and their pros and cons. But we have Kuzun that says, crypto market is rising at the moment. You think Hood is screwed on Monday? And, I assume you commented this on Sunday. But no, I don't think this is a real rally. I think Trump's comments caused a very short-term excitement, short-term short squeeze, right? Because I do remember seeing on X that a lot of longs were liquidated on the drop, I believe Friday, and then a lot of shorts were liquidated Sunday night and going into Monday, right? So I think right now it's just mostly people getting washed out of the markets rather than real investments, if that makes any sense. We have a call that says Hood has high volatility right now, great for selling covered calls, and I agree. I think the premiums are very high. And I've been enjoying them, but I also try to buy the dip with our XRP when it was way down. Robinhood wouldn't let the trade go through, kind of disappointing, but I still like Robinhood. And yeah, so like I said in my previous video, it does seem like the conspiracy theorists were, I guess, somewhat right, meaning I believe going into the weekend, I said if crypto starts to rise, going into next week, which is this week currently, well, then it makes it seem like the conspiracy theories that say, Robinhood was purposely blocking trades so that the financial institutions that are above them can swoop in at low prices to then dump it onto the market this week and whatever, like those types of conspiracy theories. It makes it seem like it's true because of what happened Sunday night and going into Monday, right? And obviously everything that went on with Robinhood and GameStop, AMC, this just adds fuel to that fire. And it was a fire that was dying down and didn't need to be, brought back up again. But obviously anytime you have stuff like this, people start to talk about GameStop and AMC again. So it is very unfortunate, but it is what it is. It's the world that we live in, right? If you agree to use these brokerage platforms like Charles Schwab, Fidelity, Robinhood, SoFi, you're agreeing to their terms, right? You're agreeing to their terms of services. So you just gotta roll with it. But we have TDTY that says, brother, with all due respect, you don't really sell covered calls like that. They are much more flexible than you seem. You sell calls 3 months out. Someone like me sells weekly calls on green candles, far out the money. I don't cap my upside unless the stock goes nuclear in sub 1 week of time, and even if it does, I just buy the shares back the next week and sell calls above that cost, rinse and repeat. I've been able to not only get basically all the stock gains, but also thousands a week in premium on top of the stock gains. So, and we also have Cash that says, bro, I've been trying to understand all this option stuff, but it's so difficult. And then of course you responded saying, sit down, understand what delta, the Greeks are. Don't buy options, always sell unless you're looking to gamble. I don't gamble, I don't guess, I collect. So when it comes to everything that you just said, it all depends on your situation, right? If it works for you, it works for you. I'm not going to sit here and tell you to do something different, but keep in mind whenever you're selling covered calls and letting it get called away because you're selling like close to the money, or like these weekly calls, right? And you're letting it get sold off and then buying the shares back to then resell covered calls. You have to keep in mind that there's a lot of taxes involved with that, right? Because you're selling your stock, you have to pay the gains on top of that. And then you have to buy the shares back, most likely at higher prices. So you did miss out on a little bit of gains, right? For example, if the stock goes up, if the stock is at your strike price, right? But then it goes up another 5%, but then you have to sell off your shares. You missed out on that 5% upside, right? So when you go back to then buy the stock back, assuming that the stock is either flat or up even more the next day, you did miss out on that upside. So keep that in mind. And the reason why I like to do it like this is because I like to stagger out my covered calls, right? If you notice, the one that I closed yesterday was the one that was going to expire this week. So I did have a weekly one, but I also had a monthly one. I had one expiring at the end of the year, right, in December. And basically all of my Robinhood covered calls were going to expire this year, right? So it's not me following a rule like I must sell 3 months out. It's just me kind of picking and choosing different strikes and dates just to be flexible and not trying to cap out my upside too much. So, whatever works for you. The way that I do it is just the way I like to do it. It works for me, right? I've been doing this for, I guess, 5 years now, maybe almost 6. Yeah, almost 6. And, I used to do the whole selling weekly calls, weekly options, wheeling, all of that, but I just got tired of it. The way that I do things now is just the way I prefer. I like to own assets, right? And then whenever I think we're getting to that tail end of a bull market, that's when I'll sell covered calls. I don't like to sell covered calls during bear markets or have like a set schedule, like a routine. I don't like that at all. But, you do what you got to do, TD. And unknown, you say, or you ask, do you think it'll go down more? I mean, the index, not just Robinhood. So I do believe in my previous video, I said that I think QQQ has the potential to go all the way down to 500, right? Because of this nice gap right here. It's a nice round number, 500. And also it's a 20% drop from the recent highs. Another nice round number. So it's not a guarantee, but I think it's a possibility for you to keep in mind. So I hope that answers your question, but Leave No Evidence says, good job on your latest covered calls. I am hoping we dip to the 120s to cover my cash calls, or to cash my covered calls. So like I said, I think it's very possible we get to 100. So I think 120 is a lot more possible, obviously. So if you end up profiting a lot, if Robinhood goes to 120, I think it's very possible. And of course, I will also profit a lot because I have a lot of covered calls. Faded, you say cooked. Okay, I don't really know which one of me say that. Leverage finance, you asked me to show the all-time chart, and I believe I did earlier in this video and also in my previous videos somewhere. We have Porsche guy that says your issue is you're selling covered calls way too long, so you're missing out on way too much upside. I don't really know what you mean because all of my strikes are at higher levels, right? The one that I closed, I believe it was 155, and I believe I have one at 150, so I'm not really capping out too much upside. A lot of my calls are like 170, so I don't really know what you mean by that. You know, none of my shares have been called away yet, but you know, you do whatever works for you.